fishing, it's in my soul.
Welcome to the Salt Strong Podcast, disrupting fishing entertainment as you know it. Prepare to laugh. Prepare to get to know fishing legends in a whole new and unfiltered way. And on occasion, you might even learn a thing or two about fishing. Here's your host, Joe Simons. Like diamonds.
Hello, Salt Strong Nation. Joe Simons, like diamonds, back again. Got my bro, Luker. What's up, dude?
Not much. I'm actually fixing my name in a little corner down below. So now I'm officially Luke Simons. So back in business.
While you're doing that, your whole Zoom's freezing up on me here, dude. You're slower than a turtle.
That's not good.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. So we're talking about smart fishing system. A lot of you insider members already know what this is. Some of you might not. We have put together so many awesome things over the years. I can understand why some members come in and say, wow, like I had no idea you guys had all of this here. And also, honestly, it could lead to overwhelm if you don't know where to find stuff. If you haven't been in to saltstrong.com, you got to be logged in, obviously, to see what I think Luke's about to share. But this is our new dashboard. It's pretty bland right now. We literally went from like having stuff everywhere to, having it pretty simple. So it look maybe a little bit different depending on when you see this. But we've made it this simple where everything, it kind of looks like, app icons on your phone. These are the main things based on our members clicking on stuff because we have the little, what's it called? Heat maps where we get to see what people are clicking on the most. These are the things that members are most interested in, the things they're using the most. And a lot of these first ones tie in to this smart fishing system. So we're not going to cover every little thing on here. We're really going to cover the system, which is Smart Fishing Tides, which also has the strike score and shows you the best day and time of day to fish based on any area, basically any tide station in America, really. Then Smart Fishing Spots, which is right next to it. Booyah. And then the Smart Fishing Gameplans, which are right below it. And then the community, which kind of is the super glue that holds all of this stuff in together. And there's the spots map as well. That's really just a conglomerate of all these spots. So the other piece of good news is we are working with a UX professional, like an expert that we have hired on board for like the next year, just to bring all this stuff in together, to simplify it, to consolidate some things and make it even easier. But as it stands right now, oh my gosh, this is so much cleaner. And we'll kind of cover each one. So smart fishing system, Luke, you want to start with Smart Fishing Tides because that was the first kind of software app that we developed.
Yeah, so all these are somewhat related. They all help you catch more fish. And the Tides is really, this is what I use before every trip. And let me go ahead and go down to Tampa, Florida, assuming I'm going to fish down this way. And so just like, most tide see a lot of tide stations. The cool thing about this, each one of these has a different tide station. Cool thing about this system is that it's really specialized for inshore saltwater anglers going after redfish, sea trout, snook, flounder. That's really why, at least there's a lot of fish strike and feeding behavior patterns ingrained at this, where we have daily scores. It's called the strike score. So every day has a score, and it's really involving the upcoming weather, right? The season that we're in, as well as the weather that we're going through. So like during the winter period, if there's a 4-day time or a multiple day sequence of warming weather, that's a good thing. It's going to bump up the score. And then if the wind's really high or the wind's really too high or even too weak, that's going to fluctuate the score as well. So it basically just pulls in all the factors that really count. And based on the season, it weights the different factors appropriately. And it spits out a score so that if you're busy and say a weekend's coming up and you only have one of those possible 2 days you can fish, then now you can just go with the one that has the highest strike score. So the ultimate goal is just to make your life easier. And at a quick glance, you'll automatically know, okay, I need to free up time on Sunday because it's 7.2.
Yep. And so 10 being the highest, 1 being the lowest.
Yep.
And it goes out to 14 days. And if you're wondering, hey, what's the algorithm? Well, it's top secret. This is probably more top secret than even the KFC recipe. We have it locked up under multiple things, and only one person at a time knows each lock. And if someone gets killed, there's rules. It's really wild. But no, we did work a long time on this, and we continually, we're trying to make it even more accurate. It is pretty doggone awesome. And the good news is you can still catch fish at any given time. But if you're anything like me, you want to have an advantage and know, all right, just based on everything from the moon phase and from just what's happened historically in the wind direction, and like Luke said, even just the temperature, because we're bringing all these variables in like every 15 or so minutes, which is why this thing can change from day to day. I want to know the best day and give me the best absolute advantage. And then we even to the bottom, I don't know if you're waiting to talk about that, but it's got the hourly feeding time as well, not just the daytime.
Yeah, waiting for you to pipe down. But
pipe down there, Susan.
just a quick sanity check, right? It's all based on current. At least a big part of it is based on current flow, in addition to the weather. And just a quick sanity check, right? That we have the new moon on the 21st, and it's not a coincidence that has a higher strike score, because that's going to be when the currents are optimized. And as long as there's not a weird, I should say, a negative behavior pattern, that's almost always going to be the top score. But again, as the weather patterns change, these scores will change too. And as Joe mentioned, it's every 15 minutes it gets updated. So it's basically as accurate as you can get. It's not like one of those printout tide charts that we used to use for many years, that all it does is give you a static graph. That's helpful, but if you don't see the weather and everything else along with it, you're just at a big disadvantage. So in addition to the daily strike score, is now an hourly feeding projection, and it's the same thing, right? It's based on the recent trends, right? What has been happening recently, but also in the certain seasons, twilight has a big bump up, which in this case it's already started. Plus, there's going to be some other factors. The fact that we have these two bars that are really high, that's going to be, again, that's some nice current flow going on, along with ideal weather. And then you can basically see again throughout the day when it's going to get good or bad, I should say better or worse. And just like everything, right? This isn't pure science. This is more, I guess, relative, right? So some people are like, oh, well, it's an 8 versus a 5. Oh man, I need to go with 8. No, okay, there's still going to be fish feeding throughout the entire day. It's just some parts of the day are statistically going to be better than others, and that's really what this chart highlights. So that if you only have a 2 or 3 hour window to fish, within 3 seconds, you can see which window you need to aim for.
And can you share with me the proprietary formula?
No way.
That was a test. I was making sure. Jeez, I was have to go to back to the rules. All right, what happens if I kill Luke over this because he shared it publicly?
So there's radar in here as well, right? We can see what the clouds are doing. This is actually pretty good day out here today, so there's nothing going on. And then to see any nearby spots, right? If we're trying to say, okay, I'm thinking about going to this one, or how about this one further up in the bay? What's it going to be like up at this St. Petersburg station? Same thing, right? Click it, it'll do the number crunching, it'll pop in the chart, and then we can see how the scores fluctuate for that area, as well as the feeding trend. So it is interesting. This area, the current flow hits a little bit later. So we saw the spike that was earlier for the hourly feeding trend. In this case, is now a little bit later. So as you see, it looks at the actual data for every point, every place. It pulls in the tides for this location as well as the weather for this specific location, and then puts it all together, kicks it through the algorithm, and here is the result.
Cool. So a lot of people think, well, man, this is all I need, right? No, it's just like only knowing how to throw one punch, like a jab in boxing. You need to have a hook, an uppercut. You need to know some more stuff. So smart fishing tides is really just step one, or the piece one of this system. That this is what we're doing, just so you guys know. This is what our coaches are going through. And obviously we get quicker at doing this as you do it. You can hit the stuff and do it in just a couple minutes. The next one is smart fishing spots. So that's there up at the top of the dashboard. If you're listening, just know that Luke is looking at this really nice, clean dashboard. And smart fishing spot. So we got to fix that. It took you to the community first, huh?
Yeah, that was like a misdid that one. So yeah, this is smart fishing spots. This is the most amazing part of the whole system. It's the most complex as well. So we're working with the user experience expert to to make it all more seamless. But this, for anybody who is at least somewhat interested in map reading and just going out and finding the best spots really fast, this thing is absolutely amazing. So what should we hit on first there, Joe?
Well, let's zoom into just an area, and I mean those filters and or layers, whatever we want to call them, are pretty doggone cool.
All right, so I'll just go through. If I was going to go out fishing, I'll go through my sequence of events, and Joe, let me know if I missed anything. So what this starts with is windy, where you can see what the wind's doing, and that's cool. But the power of this is the layers, the map layers. They're just, as we know, if you've used satellite imagery, it's just amazing how much data we can gather from satellite imagery for inshore saltwater fishing. A lot of the biggest fish are up in some of the shallowest water. And for those of us who can just, get on a satellite map and zoom in and find the good spots, we have a huge advantage where we can find good spots from the comfort of our own house versus having to spend hours or days, weeks, years on the water having to find the spots the hard way. And so here is a situation that oftentimes comes up when we're looking at maps. If we only know Google Maps and we're looking for this spot, this is over at Fort DeSoto, we're going to be in trouble because this is just not a very good picture. These maps, they change them relatively fast. Sometimes they do it sooner than they don't actually announce when they're going to update their imagery. But there's a multiple mapping platforms, and sometimes the picture just isn't very good. And so in this case, Google isn't the best. And so historically, I'd have to go over to Bing.com or MapQuest.com or all the other ones and try to figure out, okay, where's the good map? And here we have Bing already included. So,
ooh, much better. The first one looks like Elon Musk took the picture out of his spaceship on his phone.
Yeah. So this first one, for those listening, there's cloud cover on here. Really wasn't the best picture. And so without moving, right, we can just quickly go to a different layer, a different image from the exact same spot. There was no pans or anything involved. And now we can see what is a much more clear picture of the spot. So not only do we have Google and Bing in here, we also have it's called the high res. This is almost always
snap.
So this is the one I actually use most of the time because it's like 99% the best map. Where we went from, again, just for those watching, we went from can't really see much at all to simply going to this high res, which is a proprietary mapping layer to be able to see. We can see everything, even at this high level. We can see the troughs. We can see this some nice holes in the flat. It's awesome. We can see
and the zoom level on this is sick. Like you can buy this, just so you know, and it's hundreds of dollars just for like a state. We obviously have this on every state, and it's all part of our smart fishing spots. Oh my God, Lucas, zoom. If you guys are listening, you have to watch this. I mean, you can zoom in. There are areas you can see fish. I mean, the zoom on here is absolutely nuts, and this is what you would call 4K satellite view. It is
so
cool.
So the clarity here is insane. And so once you get skilled, and those I'm sure a lot of you watching are like, oh man, I want to fish that oyster bar. So for those who are used to seeing maps, you can actually see the difference between oysters and seagrass. And in case you're a little bit new to map reading, when you see little circular areas like this coming out of mangroves, it's almost always oysters. And another amazing, to me, this is one of the coolest things about this whole platform is that we have a layer for oysters. And let me move this picture out of the way there. So let me zoom out again. So one way to find oysters is to do it the hard way, or the hardest way is to actually go in the water to find them. The easier way is to use these satellite maps and get skilled at finding these oysters on the maps, especially if you have a high res photo. The easiest way is to get on smart fishing spots and click the oyster bed layer. Here, when I click it, it literally puts big white outline on all the oysters. And if you're fishing in areas like Tampa Bay, if you can find a grass flat that has oysters on it, especially if there's mangroves near there, the odds of not catching redfish in that spot is pretty small. Like redfish, absolutely, and snook, really, for that matter, and trout, that they just gravitate toward that type of area. That's awesome structure. There's going to be a lot of food there. Also, it's great protection from dolphin, because dolphin don't want to rub their skin up against the sharp shells. So it's great for protection for themselves. Also, great place to get food, and they'll spend a lot of time there. And so, not coincidentally, right, I've fished these areas a lot, and I plucked out a lot of fish there. So as we zoom in, right, all those spots that we talked about seeing the oysters show up glaringly, and then here's some we didn't even notice, right? We might not even notice those had it not been for that oyster layer. So this has been the quickest cheat sheet that I've ever found for consistently finding good spots from the comfort of your home.
But wait, there's more.
Wait, there's more. So for inshore anglers, that is right. It's really hard to top that.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you're a paddle angler and you want to launch at a certain location, we have a lot of routes.
Wait. Go. What? You're killing me here. There's more layers. You hardly even showed any of them.
Oh yeah, for me the oyster one's tired to me. But yeah, I forgot. I'm so pumped.
Seagrass, smart spots. I mean, how this whole thing got its name? Come on.
Yeah, I didn't know if we want to actually show smart spots on, because the smart
we
spot.
show it real quick. We're just gonna turn it on and off real quick.
So the seagrass, this obviously won't show every bit of seagrass, but when you hit the seagrass layer, it'll make sure that you know the areas that do have a lot of seagrass. So here you can see, obviously it's patchy, and we can clearly see there's a lot of seagrass here. This is extremely helpful. I use this mostly down in the Everglades, where going down to like 10,000 islands, the waters usually has a lot of silt in it. And so it's just tougher to see the grass on the bottom. And so I click this, and now I know exactly where the oysters and the grass are. And that is, again, one of the quickest shortcuts ever to finding the fish. So the other thing, which I guess we'll just toggle this on and off real quick, it's called smart spots. And this is really where the system shows you what we showed before is do it yourself, right? So if you want to go out and just find a spot by yourself, which is my personal preference, I prefer it. It's just more fun and rewarding when, with your own knowledge, you go out there, you find a spot, and you go out there and catch fish at it. Is awesome, especially when you find a spot from the comfort of your own home. It's pretty cool. The done for you system is called Smart Spots, where you actually click this, and it'll actually highlight spots that are most likely going to be holding some good fish at that time. So it's actually smart based on the season, based on the weather, based on the tides. And here you go. So this whole area is obviously a great area.
All right, turn it off. You've shown too much. Turn it off.
Fair enough. And so what it does, it actually
it's back on. It's back on. What happened? This is a failure.
So we have
hacked the system.
And this is a section that we're going to be updating because it is a little bit complex. But it's basically looking. I got to turn that off. But what it's doing is it's looking. Can't even turn it off. What it's doing is looking at the actual weather and tides for that particular area at that particular time, and it has this down at the bottom, this tracker. This is the hourly tracker, and so you can basically go from, I think it goes out a couple days, but you can go and just track further down in time, and what you'll see is those spots, the top spots will be fluctuating based on how the current flow is hitting it, based on if there's a storm approaching, based on a variety of situations. If there's, it's mostly, the biggest impact obviously is weather and tides. And so it'll basically go through and just point out the areas that are most likely going to have the most feeding fish. And so again, for somebody a little bit newer or going to an area you've never been to before, this is, again, it's just such a good just foundation for knowing which areas to go to.
Yeah, and then a couple other ones we got to highlight them. Just, it's got sonar. I mean, this is something that, if you hit marine chart, Luke.
Yeah, marine chart.
See all the depth. I mean, that's really cool.
Yeah, so this gives the sonar, and again, another thing, it shows the channel markers, which I like as well. I just came back from a trip down Everglades, and so I was able to see where the channels were, where the main channels were, just simply by looking for the channel markers. Obviously, you can see the depths in certain areas. For Tampa Bay, like, honestly, the satellite view, the high res is really better for the depths, because you can actually see detail on exactly where the channels are and where the grass is. So this isn't, the marine chart isn't something I personally use every day, but it's here for, especially when traveling. Or again, I know a lot of members in Northeast Florida, rely on this heavily because it shows all the details. My personal favorite I was actually doing this earlier today, is for going out and fishing reefs, whether it's inshore reefs or nearshore reefs, is this shaded relief.
And real quick, Wyatt uses this in Texas, where he's got a little bit murkier water inshore. He'll click the shaded relief, which is the 3D, and he'll click sonar, and he's looking for little areas that have deep spots near like creek mouths. It's really cool. He was showing me how he's using that. I was like, dude, that is sick.
So let me just show you how this is. If you're doing nearshore reef fishing, this is just absolutely amazing. Let me see if this is. Oh, that's the wrong one. So we go out, and what this is high def bottom imagery of the bottom. Not 100%. It's not 100% of the bottom. It's basically wherever we've been able to get that data. But most of the public reefs are in here, and there's also a lot of the inshore shipping channels and the passes like Boca Grande Pass. This pass here in Tampa. But this is where I personally just have been blown away by it. I'm relatively new to nearshore reef fishing, and this has given me the biggest leg up on really everybody else, because I can go out there and I can access this from my phone. So this is one of the reefs where I can still access the internet, and I can literally see on the phone. I can see and zoom in to see these. Like, these are actually tanks. This is just a lot of stuff that's been sunk down the bottom. You literally can see the actual tanks when we zoom in. You can see the pilings. This was like a barge or something. This is something bigger. And I can get here, and this is the coolest thing ever. From the comfort of my home, I can go and create a route or just do waypoints and add each of these tanks if I want to, where I could make a point there. I can make a point there. I can start going through all these. I'll get that off there because now it's bugging me. But I can basically click on each of these items, capture the GPS location from it, and then import it export onto a card and import it into the boat's GPS unit, which is cool. But the easiest way is just to pick the phone up and see this map on my phone along with the little icon of where I am. So it's awesome. And so this has helped me significantly go out and have just really good days out on the reefs where I really am not very skilled at. Like, I haven't spent much time out there, but the time has been awesome. I got some amazing Kobe action, grouper, snook. I saw a giant permit school the other time out. It was just so much fun. So it's kind of like the thing I've been learning. I've just been using the system just to make it a whole lot easier.
Yeah, heck, we've only been doing this for 18, 20 minutes, and who knows how many spots we've already just looked at and uncovered. It's amazing what you could find. And so this is really step number 2, right, of this system, which is the smart fishing spots. We got the tides, the spots, and all these different layers. There's a whole lot more to this. We're only just showing the things that kind of excite people here. What do you got? Something else to show?
Yeah, so it also has the reefs, right? So anybody into the nearshore reef fishing or even inshore reefs, where you can see the different reefs that are out that is basically logged by really by FWC, and pretty awesome. And again, most of these reefs you can zoom into. Sometimes it takes a little bit of a walk. There's a ton of pixels related to all this stuff, but you can zoom into these reefs and then get into that high def imagery on the bottom for most of them. This is just taking slower than usual because I'm running this Zoom platform as well.
Yeah, so cool. All right, so the next one we'll move on is the smart fishing game plans. So what you've seen so far is a little bit of artificial intelligence, right? We've built out algorithms and these proprietary kind of filters, if you will, to help show the best day and time and tide and even spots to fish. And then the smart fishing game plans is guys like Luke and other fishing coaches. Now we've got, 50 or so full-time guides who are now every week reporting what's happened in their area, like right as soon as you get off the water. I mean, how cool is that? They're literally usually calling, into our little hotline on the way home from being on the water all week, saying, hey guys, here's exactly what I'm seeing in my area. So now we've got the human intelligence to back up all of this artificial intelligence. And man, with these 3 things combined, you will have more intel and you will be literally just going out there with confidence, compared to just like, man, I haven't fished in a while and I don't even know where to go. It is game changing what this does. And we have full-time guides, by the way, that pay for the same stuff, that pay for the system and use it and have no qualms and not embarrassed to say, yeah, as a full-time guide, I use this because it helps me get a leg up and finding some new spots when things get tough. So this is so awesome.
Yeah, and as Joe mentioned, what the artificial intelligence is awesome, right? It's just so much. It's just a lot of data can be concise and put together to take historical actuals and forecast what is likely to happen. Very, very cool. Just knowing what's going to happen based on history. But if we only look at that, we're missing a very important part of it, and that's just the human intelligence, which is the real time what's happening now. And I personally have done way better just having a good network of anglers that I either have fished with or I'm just friends with. And not everybody can fish every day, right? We wish we could, but never can. And so then just having somebody to talk with, hey, what was happening in your last trip, or what do we, what's been happening lately? That information on what happened 1 or 2 days ago is way more important and way more valuable than looking back at, like, historical actuals 2 to 5 years ago, right, during that same time. So this human intelligence is just crucial. I've had some of my best days simply by just going off of a tip that I found or saw in this community platform. These game plans are awesome, as Joe mentioned, but also we have even just our members posting trips on a daily basis where we can see just real time intel on just what's happening, what's biting, and what they're biting on. Which
Yeah,
is
click the main map just to kind of show all the different pins from us and from our members. I mean, it is. Look at this. So if you're just listening in, just know that there's, I mean, 60, 70,000 pins. I mean, it's crazy. Every one of these pins is a fishing spot or report or spot dissection on the water report, and you can filter it down, which is really neat. Even filter it down over there on the right hand side by dates. You can even see the last 7 days, or if you, hey, I want to see everything that happened in the month of March or April. It is so cool what you can do with this, and just so much intel. It's not even funny.
Yeah, so this is relatively new, and even if we just look at the month of March, and we've moved over. Obviously, we've shown Tampa Bay. That's where I live, which is I'm biased towards. But we're now in Northeast Florida, and even just looking at 1 month of intel, here are all the different spots and all the different reports that have been posted from that specific time frame for this area. Many of which are these yellow ones are insider reports, where it actually shows an entire trip, where you have the trip details on what happened, as well as a post trip analysis where you actually get low level Google Maps and one of our coaches saying, here's where we were catching the fish, and most importantly, why. Here's why they were here, whether the current was going in or out, hitting this bank in this particular way, going through these dock pylons this particular way, and then how to position to maximize your results. So long story short, there's just a wealth of information in here. This does take a little bit more time to do. So a lot of people rely on the earlier stuff that we showed, where the artificial intelligence like smart spots and the tides. But for those who have just a little bit of time, each one of these insight reports, it's usually about a 10-minute video. But the amount of information you get from them is just absolutely amazing. It's just something that I wish, really, we set this up just to have something that we just wish was available when we were learning the hard way.
It's like
Certainly
having a
would have
fishing guide in your back pocket.
Yeah, would have saved many years of frustration and just wasted money going to bad spots.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I just went back to the all dates, and you can see Jacksonville, the entire coastline of Florida obviously is covered because we have thousands and thousands of members, but even really the entire Southeast. So we can scan over all the way along the Gulf, tons of spots, get over to Texas, a whole lot of spots. Texas is growing very fast and have a ton of members there. And even if we pan over to the Atlantic side of the coastline, going up Georgia, Carolinas, ton of action. We've basically been blessed to have members really throughout the entire Southeast, and even some up in the Northeast.
Yep.
Who have been finding value in these platforms and telling their friends, and it's just been growing fast. It's been really cool.
Yep. And so you might have seen in the title, it says invitation only. What does that mean? Well, we're asking you to come join saltwater.com, but only if you're a fit. We actually did something recently that we really kind of kicked off this whole Insider Club as an invitation only. Remember, Luke, for the first probably year and a half, 2 years, we did no advertising. We used to call it like the Underground Fishing Club. and where we were all just kind of, sharing what's working. And back then we didn't have the tackle discounts. We didn't have any of this fancy, smart fishing spots and smart fishing tides. It was really just a bunch of anglers that wanted to help each other out, wanted to share what was working. And then the club just kept growing and growing and growing. And we opened it up to everyone. Well, we're taking it back. We have 35 or about 36,000 members. And now if you go to the pricing page, you'll see that you can't just join. And it's for a couple reasons. One, we don't want everyone to see all this stuff. We don't want this to be open where someone can just come in and just leave real quick. We're trying to make sure we get the right people, number one. And number two, if we can't help you, we do ask you a few questions like, hey, where do you fish? And, if you tell us that you fish in California and you only fish by land in California, we probably can't help you. And so we're going to be very honest and say, hey, we're not a fit for every single person. So that is why we're asking a few questions. I think it's like 4 questions. It takes, 35 seconds. And then you get a yay or nay. Hey, you're approved or you're not. And it's another reason this club has continued to grow and survive through all these years, and it continues to just explode because we have great people and they refer great friends over, and we don't allow any cursing. There's no negativity, no belittling, no trash talking, no politics, none of that stuff in our private community. And we honestly want to keep it that way. And it got a little out of control. We were getting so many people joining at just a rapid rate, which sounds good. Same point, we really do want the right people. We want people who really do want to help. They want to share. And if you're brand new, learn a lot. And then, maybe you're the one that gets to share a tip that you learned with someone else new. And it is neat how many, full-time guides and really experienced anglers we've attracted, and some that have just grown up in this awesome insider club and community that came in as, kind of part-time weekend warriors and just fished occasionally, and now are great. And some even have their captain's license. And it's been really neat to see this evolve. So if it sounds like it's a fit, come join us over at saltstrong.com. You get access to all the stuff that we shared. And if you're already a member, thank you guys so much. Keep referring your friends over. We got these new chapters. So we're doing local chapters coming up here real soon. Really, really pumped about that. It's going to be kind of our next chapter at Salt Strong, is taking everything that we've built online and taking it offline into our little local community. So I'm really pumped. So that's all at saltstrong.com. You'll see a join now or a pricing page, and you can find out more there if you're not a member.
Yeah, it's been cool watching it grow, and really a lot of this stuff, all of it's been just designed from anglers, but a lot of the ideas, like from Smart Spots and the different map layers, that actually come from members in the community. Whereas, hey, it would be really cool if we could do this, and then like, okay, let's see if we can do it. Let's try to figure it out. And so this is just where we are now, and just a year from now, especially 2 years or more from now, there's going to be way cooler stuff on there. This is just the starting point. And so we're already at a point where this stuff is awesome, and it's only going to get better from here. So we'd certainly love to have you part of the journey if you're not already.
Yep. So it's saltstrong.com. If you're a current member, make sure to go into the community. We got some really cool giveaways, giving 3 more reels away this month. If you guys don't know about that and you are a member, make sure to be active in the community. If you're just active in there, participating, commenting, posting, whatever, you automatically get entered into the giveaway. And last month we gave away well over $1,400 worth of spinning reels. This month doing another big one as well. So make sure to be active in the private community. Otherwise, we will talk to you guys on the next episode. Peace.
'Cause fishing, it's in my soul.